He's looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up for the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the third!
The timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks NBA. As you know, we're here presented to you by DSM Media. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on DSM Media's YouTube channel. That is the most important platform that we are on. That is where we're trying to grow the community and extend our arms out to you guys and create that engagement that we love with the community here. So be sure, hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on YouTube. But you can find DSM Media on all social media accounts. You will find Scotty Talks NBA on all the DSM Media social media accounts. The only things that are exclusively on YouTube are going to be Sixers pregame, Eagles pregame, Flyers pregame, Union pregame, Phillies pregame. So we do all of the Philly sports pregame shows. Of course, myself, your host here, you can find me at Scotty Drown on all social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of the above. So be sure to give me a follow if you love the show. And of course, get involved in the comments. Today is a pre-recorded show, just a heads up. It's going to be a little bit of a quicker show. I got a lot going on right now, getting prepared for people to come to town. My fiance is going wedding dress shopping this weekend, so we're getting the house cleaned up. We're trying to get everything in order here. So it's going to be a little bit of a quicker episode, but nonetheless, I'm still going to get you the Wednesday night picks. I'm still going to get you the best bets right at the end. We'll keep it to about a half an hour, go over everything here. As far as what else we're going to go over, aside from the typical stuff, we're going to do the Tuesday night recap, obviously, as we do every week. We're going to talk about KD's injury. That's the big news right now with the Brooklyn Nets, who were streaking. KD goes down. What does that team look like now? Who's going to have to step up? What are we looking for from that team? Steph Curry returned from injury last night for the Golden State Warriors, so we'll talk a little bit about that and how he fared. We're also going to do a deep dive on the LA Clippers, just because I find them interesting right now. They're 22-21, just above 500, and they've had a ton of guys just miss a lot of time this season. There's a bunch of moving pieces here for this LA Clippers team. I want to just talk about what's going on there, what's got to change for the future. Take a look at what Kawhi, PG's been doing this season in their limited time that they've been on the court. And then, of course, we'll get into the updated power rankings, Wednesday night picks, and then best bets to end the show. So there's your full slate. As far as what we need to do before we get started here, of course, I need to shout out my sponsors over at Gents Barber Lounge. DSM Media is brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of the two great locations in Fishtown and Old City and book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft, and it shows rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area. Multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Here is a look at some of Gents' work. All right. Shout out to Gents Barber Lounge. Be sure to book your appointment on gentsbarberlounge.com today. And of course, shout out our sponsors over at luxodin.com. You should see it down there in the banner on the bottom of the screen. Visit luxodin.com. Check out some of their jewelry. Use code DSM at checkout for 25% off and free shipping. Be sure to check out luxodin.com. With that being said, guys, let's get into the content of the show. Where we're going to start, same place we start every single Wednesday. We're going to talk about the Tuesday night's action. So taking a look at Tuesday night, we had a 7-game slate. The first one being between the Pistons and the Sixers. As you can see, we got the Sixers gear on today. We're celebrating a Wednesday, a Victory Wednesday. It's not Monday. It's a Victory Wednesday, I guess you could call it. Victory Hump Day. But nonetheless, the Sixers take care of the Detroit Pistons at home, 147-116. That is the highest scoring total for the Sixers all season. Hell of a night. They emptied out the bench. It was one of those ideal nights if you're Sixers fans. You get to keep your star players under that 30-minute mark, get them a little bit of rest as they go and get ready for this West Coast road trip. So good win for the Sixers. James Harden in this one, second straight triple-double, excuse me, not double-double, second straight triple-double against the Detroit Pistons. So 2 triple-doubles in a row, both of them coming against the Detroit Pistons. Harden had 16 points, 15 assists. Obviously, you see Embiid being back helps those numbers. 11 rebounds, so 16 points, 15 assists, and 11 rebounds. Monster game for Harden in a short amount of time. And then you look at Embiid, first game back from that left foot injury, 36 points, 11 rebounds. He shot 12 for 20 from the field. Simply put, Joel Embiid is good at basketball. He's great at basketball. Not good. Great. Next game, we have the Miami Heat taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Had the Heat coming out with a 112-111 win over the Thunder. In this one, we had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. If I'm pronouncing his name wrong, please elaborate it for me, because I know I've been saying it differently for a long time now. I need to Google search how to pronounce Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's name correctly. I don't want to disrespect him. Most of the time I call him SGA. Nonetheless, good game for him. 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Josh Giddey, following the Harden train of triple-doubles, 18 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. So 18, 15, and 10 for Josh Giddey. Talked about this last week on Scotty Talks NBA. Love Josh Giddey. He is like Ben Simmons, but he can score. And I know he's Australian, so it's kind of not fair to make that comparison. Or maybe it's a little stereotypical to make that comparison. But nonetheless, he is a Ben Simmons that shoots the basketball. That's what I like about Josh Giddey, because there's a lot of great qualities to Ben Simmons. He just doesn't score the ball. Josh Giddey does do that. Jimmy Butler in this one, 35 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. So a nice masterclass for Jimmy Butler in the W. Next, we had the Charlotte Hornets visiting the Toronto Raptors. We had the Hornets losing in this one, 132-120. LaMelo Ball in this one, 24 points, 14 assists, 4 for 9 from the three-point line. Terry Rozier, 33 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 5 for 9 from the three-point line, so those guys shot lights out. Pascal Siakam, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Borderline triple-double there for Pascal. And Gary Trent Jr., who has just freshly joined the lineup in the last week or so, rejoined the lineup, I should say, in the last week or so. 24 points, 2 rebounds, 4 for 10 from the three-point line. He's incredibly important to that Raptors team, and I think when they have him, he's a sharpshooter, and they don't have a ton of sharpshooters. They have good shooters. They don't have a ton of sharpshooters on that team. I think Gary Trent Jr. is a necessity for that team. There's been a lot of talk. Is he a guy that you move towards the deadline? I don't think you do that if you're Toronto and you want to make the playoffs, but we'll see what they decide there. Nonetheless, good victory at home for the Toronto Raptors, who have been struggling this season. Next, we had Donovan Mitchell revisiting Utah. Finally, get into face his old team. Donovan Mitchell in this game, 46 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So another monster night for Donovan Mitchell, who scored 73 points last week. 46, 5, and 6 for Donovan, but in a losing effort. Jazz win this one 116-114. In this one, Darius Garland also had 21 points, 6 assists. Lauri Markkanen, once again, he's having a fantastic season. 25 points, 16 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson, 32 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Clarkson filling up the stat sheet. Interesting, right? Jazz, are they in the playoff picture? Are they not? Keep getting wins like this, they will be, right? Do you move from Jordan Clarkson? I don't know. It's an interesting topic. We're getting closer to the deadline. We'll soon find out, right? Next, we had the Phoenix Suns surprising the Golden State Warriors at home. And in this one, this was Steph Curry's return, right? We had Dario Saric approaching triple-double territory last night. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. I give you a soft chuckle because we obviously have history with Dario Saric and know what he can do when he gets the time on the floor. So shout out to Dario. Mikal Bridges also in this one, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. I mentioned Steph Curry returns, 24 points, 5 for 15 from the three-point line. Obviously, that's roughly 33% from the three-point line. Obviously, you expect Steph to be a little bit better, fill a little bit more of the box sheet up, that being assists, rebounds. They're just trying to get him reacclimated, I'm sure. Klay Thompson in this one, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 6 for 14 from the three-point line. Tough loss at home for the Warriors against the Suns team. No D-Book, no CP3, no Cameron Payne. Suns are really beat up right now, but nonetheless, a good win on the road for them. Orlando Magic, we had them visiting the Portland Trailblazers. Magic actually took care of business in this one, 109 to 106. You had Franz Wagner with 29 points, 12 for 20 from the field. Paolo Banchero, the leading Rookie of the Year candidate, with 19 points, 10 rebounds, double-double for the rookie. Damian Lillard with 30 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. And then Yusuf Nurkic, 22 points, 10 rebounds. Double-double for the big fella. Dame with 30 points last night. Shot terribly from the field, though. I believe he was 2 for 12 from the three-point line. Then finally, our last matchup of the evening, Game 7 of 7. The Mavs at the LA Clippers. This one was really interesting. Ultimately, we had the Clippers winning this one 113 to 1-0. I believe that's a 1. Sorry, my handwriting is a little messed up there. Let me just check the score for you to make sure. So Tuesday, 113 to 101. I was pretty sure they won by double digits in this one. They being the Clippers. Just to confirm, 113 to 101. In this one, you had Kawhi Leonard scoring his season high of 33 points, 9 rebounds. Along with that, you had Norman Powell with 27 points, 4 rebounds. Luka Doncic, 43 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. My God, this dude just puts up insane numbers. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But 43, 11, and 7 for Luka. Tim Hardaway Jr., the only other notable Maverick from the night, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 for 6 from the three-point line. Nonetheless, Clippers full strength. They get the W against the Mavs at home. You just want to see, what else is going on with Kawhi. Like, why can't we just get Kawhi consistently this season and really see what he's about? When they get to the playoffs, is he going to play consistently? Is he going to miss every other game or every 2 game, or play one of every 3 games? Like, I don't know. I want to see more from Kawhi, which it brings me to the next segment of the show. We can just keep it moving here. The LA Clippers, and just taking a look at them and what they're doing this season. I know we got the Lakers background here in the back. I didn't have enough time to make a new thumbnail, excuse me. So we're working with LeBron in the background. That's my go-to, Bron in the background there. But we're talking about the Clippers here, and it's a deep dive. So looking at the Clippers right now, they're 22-21. They are 3-7 in their last 10, so not playing very good ball, right? You look at their numbers on the season, points per game, they're 28th in the NBA. Rebounds per game, they're 9th in the NBA, so a pretty solid rebounding team. Assists per game, they're 26th in the NBA, which is a little surprising if I do say so myself. Given the point guard structure that they have, or the depth at point guard that they have there. Between John Wall, Reggie Jackson, Paul George gets a fair number of assists. Kawhi's a good playmaker at times. But nonetheless, 26, bottom of the league in assists per game. And then opponents' points per game, that is their strong suit, the defensive side of the ball at 4th. The points per game, 28th. That is astounding. Now, obviously, they like to keep scores low, right? They're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. You tend to see that. Similar to the Sixers, I believe the Sixers are now 16th in the NBA in points per game. Might even be higher after that explosion last night versus the Pistons. But nonetheless, you can tend to see that with teams that are very good on the defensive end. They put so much focus into that at times they just don't hit the offensive marks. But it's a little concerning seeing them that low down the list, right? Sixers at 16 is one thing. At 28th, that's you're 2 spots from the worst scoring team in the NBA. So Clippers team that is so deep. You talk about the guys on this team, and they're so in flux with like wing athletic defenders, right? Lengthy defenders. That's what blows me away about this Clippers team. That's what gives me so much confidence in them. If they can be healthy, that's the biggest question mark with this Clippers team is health. And I just have a hard time distinguishing if they're just being extra careful or if these are setbacks each time the guys miss a spurt of time, right? Just seems like Kawhi, PG-13 are always in and out with injuries, but they're not the only ones. There's, 6 Clippers players that are deeply integrated in the rotation when they're healthy that have missed 10-plus games this season. The Clippers have played 43 games this season. You have 6 players out of your integral rotation that have missed 10 plus games. You just can't build any consistency. You can't build chemistry with that. And I think that's why you're seeing the shooting struggles. It is interesting to see that they can plug and play some excellent defense, keep their defensive standing that way. But the scoring in the offensive, fluency, their fluidity, I guess you would call it, it's just not there. And that's a problem. You look at the 6 Clippers that I'm speaking on. PG-13 is the first one, right? He's only played 30 games. Kawhi Leonard, I believe he has played 19 games. John Wall, he's your freshly acquired backup point guard, maybe even your starting point guard some nights. He's missed 10 games this season. You look at Norman Powell. He was your second leading scorer last night with 27 points. He's missed 10-plus games this season. Robert Covington, he's in and out of the lineup. Nicholas Batum and him, they kind of take turns there in the lineup. He's been out 10-plus games this season. And then Luke Kennard, their sharpshooter, right? Their best shooter on the team. He's been out 10-plus games this season. So just a plethora of guys that have missed a lot of time this season. And you need to see these guys step back in. Now, obviously, I mentioned Kawhi Leonard, hits his season high in points last night with 33 points. On the season, Kawhi Leonard, as I mentioned, 19 games played, 17 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 27.5% from the three-point line. Obviously, the shooting numbers, they're not where you want them to be. But when you're playing sporadically like he's playing, it's just hard to build consistency there either. So 19 games played out of 43. That's less than half of the games. He needs to play more. The Clippers are going to need him. We've seen it the last few years in the playoffs. We always put the Clippers on this what if pedestal. Eventually, it's not what if, it's what is, and they just never have their guys. So I need to see Kawhi in this lineup more consistently throughout this season. Or honestly, you're not going to see these guys in the playoffs. This West side is stacked. If you're not going to see Kawhi consistently, if you're not going to see PG-13 or the rest of this depth, this lineup that we tout so often, if they're not in there regularly, they're just not going to be in the playoffs because this Western Conference is stacked. You got the Warriors fighting for a playoff spot right now. The Kings have looked good. The Dallas Mavericks are fighting for a spot. Portland Trailblazers down there, right? So there's just a lot of teams in the mix, all roughly in the same area when you get into the second half of that Western Conference playoff standings. So looking at John Wall, new acquisition, right? That's what some people got really excited about. That didn't really move the needle for me because it always was similar to the Sixers, right? You can add DeAnthony Melton, you can add PJ Tucker, and they're great pieces. But if Joel Embiid isn't healthy, it's not working. If James Harden isn't healthy, they're not winning shit in the playoffs. Same thing for the Clippers. You can add John Wall to the mix, and that's a great backup point guard option. He's a guy that can come in, create instant offense. He's so fast, right? Gets up the court, up and down, athletic. And he's starting to shoot the three ball better in the latter half of his career. Only 30% this season, but get in there more consistently. Maybe you can build on that. It's about if Kawhi and PG's in, right? So it doesn't move the needle, but you look at what he's doing, 11.1 points per game, 5.2 assists per game, 30.1% from the three-point line. He's putting up decent numbers. He's contributing. It's probably exactly what you want from John Wall. Maybe increase the three-point percentage a little bit. But the assists, that's beautiful, 5.2. The points per game, he's giving you 11 off the bench. Just need to see him more consistently, right? He's missed 10 games this year. PG-13, he's my favorite player on the Clippers, I'll be honest. I know he's caught a lot of heat over the last couple of years. Playoff P. PG-13 is my favorite player on there. I think he's one of the more versatile players, wings in the NBA. And when he's on, he's really on. PG-13, 30 games played this season out of 43, 23.7 points per game. He's their leading scorer, 6 rebounds per game, 5.1 assists per game, 38.5% from the three-point line. He's honestly having a great season. He's leading them in scoring, shooting over 38% from the three-point line, averaging above 5 assists, above 5 rebounds per game. 24, 5 and 5 on 38% three-point shooting? That's great for PG-13. We know the defender that he is. He's lengthy. He's athletic. Just need to see him in there more, right? More. He's better than Kawhi as far as playing in games, but still not where you want him to be when you're trying to build consistency here. So that's the main thing for the Clippers right now. Health. What has to change for them to get better, for them to get where we think they belong? The big what if scenarios with this Clippers team. Excuse me if my eyes go over to the side. I'm keeping my eye on the PSG game. They're playing right now. 1-0 PSG. I know Ekatike put a goal in the first 10 minutes, but trying to keep my eye over there. But if you see me wander off, I promise you I'm staying focused here despite I'm just multitasking. What has to change for the Clippers? They just have to get healthy. They have to stay healthy. We need to see what Kawhi looks like in a rotation, right? In there consistently once he's able to build some chemistry with this team. But I love the what ifs with the Clippers. They're at their best, at their full health with a team that's played together. They can win the championship for sure. We've been saying that for about 3 years now. We just haven't seen the product, and I'm still waiting here. So we'll see ultimately how it goes. But the Clippers, that's why I wanted to look at them, so I could kind of get to the bottom of what's going on there. And I'm ultimately just not thoroughly impressed, guys. But what can we do? Let's see here. Whoops. Take that down. Just making sure I have everything pulled up here for us for later. Nonetheless, I do want to talk a little bit about the KD injury before we get into the updated power rankings. Moving on to the next segment, obviously here. Looking at the KD injury right now, obviously it was discussed earlier on this week. I listened to the Zach Lowe pod just to get a little more insight as far as what the timetable is for KD, when we can look for him to come back, so on and so forth. Looking at this MCL sprain, he's had this, I believe, 2 other times in his career. Looking at a 4 to 6 week timeline as far as how long KD is going to be out. It's generally 3 to 4 weeks a month. You look at it a month from now, we're going to be pushing up past the trade deadline, closer to All-Star break. Why not just keep him out past All-Star break in the condition that the Nets are in? Now, obviously, this depends a lot on what happens over the next month for the Nets without KD. But ultimately, 4 to 6 weeks, I think, is more realistic for him. The good thing about the injury that I will say, and obviously heard this on Zach Lowe, went back, looked at the stats to confirm. Whenever KD comes back from the MCL sprain, he doesn't seem to miss a beat. He obviously is a guy he's a hooper, right? He's one of the best hoop heads of all time. So he obviously stays in shape however he can. His shot's never going to go away. He's just one of the best scorers ever. But generally speaking, when he comes back from these MCL sprains, it doesn't really affect his play. It happened to him last year. He came back, played at an MVP level. You look at the Nets. Where are they currently? Obviously, they're second in the Eastern Conference. They've been the hottest team since towards the end of November, honestly. They're 27-13 on the season. They've won 2 in a row. They're 9-1 in their last 10. You look at what KD was contributing before the injury, 29.7 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, 5.3 assists per game, 37.6% from the three-point line, and an astounding 55.9% from the field goal, just from regular field goal percentage. You know the type of player that KD is. He shoots mid-ranges prolifically. And for him to have that type of shooting percentage speaks to what he does. Just to take it a step further, I was reading Kevin Pelton's article from ESPN Plus earlier today. You talk about Durant. Not only has he been efficient, but taking that to another level, he's been incredibly efficient. Durant has been one of the league's most efficient, high-volume clutch scorers. So he's clutch on top of efficiency. His 51% field goal percentage in these situations ranks 11th amongst 29 qualifying players with a usage rate of at least 30% in the clutch. Irving is 21st among the same group at 45%. So you think about, and I mentioned one of them right now, who's going to have to step up with KD out? Who's it going to be? Who do you guys think it's going to be that steps up for the Brooklyn Nets during this time without KD? There's a couple guys I'm looking at here, and these options are all over the place. The obvious ones you start with, it's going to be the second man in line, right? Second man up, Kyrie Irving. he's the next guy that has to step up. He has to be that prolific scorer. He needs to be that go-to guy when you need a bucket. Can't be KD or Kyrie now. It has to be Kyrie. The other guy that I would go to now, I shouldn't say I would go to him. If you're a Nets fan, you may, if you're a Nets fan, you may be looking at this person to step up right now. And that is going to be the legendary Ben Simmons. Now, do I think that he's going to magically step up and become some crazy scorer, with KD out? No, I do not. Where he could ultimately step up and help this team out, facilitation, rebounding, defense, all the areas. Obviously, Ben Simmons contributes too heavily already. He's going to have to take it up another notch with KD. Obviously, the length that KD brings to a team, to that starting lineup. Ben Simmons is going to have to fill that void and kind of be everything but a scorer, right? At a higher clip. The other two guys are kind of further down the totem pole, I guess you would say, that I think need to step up here. One could be TJ Warren, who's kind of been getting his first action in a year or so, in the last week or so. He can step up. He's another forward, lengthy, athletic, can score the rock prolifically, as we've seen in the past, Sixers fans. The other guy that I'm looking at is a younger player in Cam Thomas. He's been in and out of the rotation. He's a guy, I think you give him more volume, you can see some really good things out of him. I'm actually really high on Cam Thomas since he came out of college at LSU. But I would love to see him get some more playing time in KD's absence. But nonetheless, you're talking about a void like KD. I just mentioned he's an MVP candidate, probably in the top 5 of the conversation this year so far. When you miss somebody like that, the entire team has to step up. I mentioned 4 guys. The list could go on of guys that have to step up and fill all these different voids that KD being gone is gonna leave. I would honestly, in this NBA, there's so many bad teams at the bottom. You look at the Pistons, look at the Sixers schedule upcoming, right? It's like the Pistons, Oklahoma City Thunder, the LA Lakers. That's what we're looking at in the NBA right now. It's not the same for the Nets, man. Their schedule coming up is going to be brutal during this span where KD's out. You talk about if he misses the time all the way up to the All-Star break, right? Say he has to be out until after the All-Star break. The Nets will play Boston 2 times, who they play next. They will play the Sixers twice in that span. They will play the Golden State Warriors once in that span. Mind you, Steph Curry is back. They will play the LA Clippers. They will play the Phoenix Suns twice. Don't know how much that means. Obviously, D-Book's been out for a while. Chris Paul's been in and out. Along with the Phoenix Suns, they also play the Miami Heat during that span, who is another Eastern Conference playoff team, you would say. So that's my biggest worry. Obviously, the Boston and Philly matchups twice in that span. So 4 games against Boston and Philly between the two teams. Over that span, that's what worries you the most. That would be 4 losses, but 4 losses to teams that are right in the mix with you as far as standings in the Eastern Conference. So that's why you want to avoid those. But it's kind of inevitable when you lose a piece like KD. It's disappointing from a Sixers fan standpoint because it just feels like we're never going to get to see KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons, and their full squad versus James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias, and Joel Embiid in the Sixers full squad. It just feels like it's never going to happen. Looking like the next 2 matchups won't include KD at least. So that's disappointing from that standpoint. But nonetheless, the Nets, they're going to have to try to stay afloat, man. And they've done it on both sides of the ball. Obviously, Jacques Vaughn coming in as the head coach after Steve Nash has really helped them a lot on the defensive end specifically. But they've also became a better offensive team, obviously led by KD. And it's going to be interesting to see how they can stay afloat without one of the best players in the NBA right now, right? We've seen teams like the Sixers stay afloat. We've seen the Bucks stay afloat without some of their stars mixed in. We've seen, the Warriors kind of in the float there. But can the Brooklyn Nets stay afloat there? Obviously, after they were picking up so much steam, it's good for the Sixers. It's good for the Eastern Conference, the rest of the Eastern Conference. that KD ultimately goes down. But it isn't good for basketball. It isn't good for the hoop heads like myself who just want to see the best competition on the floor every night and the best players. So shout out to KD. Hopefully he gets back soon. Wishing him well. Sending him all the prayers in the world. Get that MCL right. Get back on the court and give us the competition that we want in the Eastern Conference. But maybe the Nets will still be putting up fights without him. Obviously, Kyrie is a hell of a player, and it's going to take him taking his game to the next level, right? So we'll have to keep an eye out for Kyrie Irving and see if he has some uptick with KD being out. The next place I want to go is to the updated power rankings. We'll go through these pretty quick because they honestly haven't changed much over the last week. Then we'll get into Wednesday night picks. We'll go over the schedule. Last week I was 7-5, so not the greatest. Just a little over 500 for me out of 12 games. But tonight we have an 8-game slate, so hopefully I can do a little bit better this week with a little less volume, right? A little less volume. Maybe I can do a little bit better. The matchups aren't great tonight either, so that's another thing. So maybe it's a little bit easier for me this week. Looking at the updated power rankings, I don't have a graphic for you guys. As I mentioned, I've been rushing around. We will be back. I'll have graphics, everything. We'll be back to normal next week, I promise. We're going to go 10-1 here. The only new team, I'll be straightforward with you about the updated power rankings. The only new team is the Indiana Pacers at number 10. They're currently 23-18. They're at an even point differential for the season. They've won 2 in a row, and they are 8-2 in their last 10, with one of those losses coming to the Sixers, I know. 23-18, the spot they took the Clippers spot. I mentioned to you earlier the state that the Clippers are in, 22-21, 3-7 in their last 10, not playing very good basketball of late. That is ultimately why I moved the Pacers in, because they are playing some excellent basketball, being 8-2 in their last 10. Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield are really finding themselves over there in Indiana, and I really love what they got going on. Benedict Mathurin off the bench, rookie shooting guard. So love what the Indiana Pacers have going on. Miles Turner's looked to be a good, solid piece there in Indiana. Piece they've been trying to get rid of forever, but nonetheless filling a nice role for the Pacers. But we'll see. We'll see if the Pacers can continue this, stay in the float amongst the Eastern Conference contenders. But nonetheless, I like what the Pacers are doing. I believe they are 6th in the Eastern Conference right now. So good for the Pacers, good for Indiana basketball. Number 9, we are going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. They're 23-19. They're at a plus 1.1 turnover point differential, They've lost 2 in a row, obviously counting that loss to the Clippers last night. But they're 7-3 in their last 10. So 2 of those losses went into that 7-3 record. Aside from that, before those 2 losses, they were obviously 7-1. So I want to see more from Dallas. I want to see more from Dallas outside of Luka. We know what Luka can do, right? He's unstoppable, basically. But really want to see what the rest of this squad can do. Can Christian Wood play consistently? Can Tim Hardaway Jr. play consistently? Can Spencer Dinwiddie play consistently? These are the guys we need to hear from consistently from the Dallas Mavericks. Too often, it's just Luka Doncic ringing the bell every night. Just like last night, 43 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. The second best player, Tim Hardaway Jr., was 16 points and 4 rebounds. That's not good enough, man. Not for a team that has aspirations of winning an NBA championship. Not for a team that had, Jalen Brunson on the squad last year. A guy that's looking like an all-star in the Eastern Conference so far this season. Coming in at number 8, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. They're at 25-16. They're at a plus 4.4 point differential. They've won 1 game in a row. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Obviously, 6-4 in their last 10. A little shaky of late. That comes whenever you have Zion out with a hamstring injury. Obviously, B.I. still hasn't returned. Brandon Ingram, that is. So those guys, once they return, I imagine they will climb this list. Let's just hope New Orleans can stay afloat with C.J. McCollum and the crew while those guys are out. But nonetheless, New Orleans at number 8 for me. Coming in at number 7, we have the Philadelphia 76ers at 25-15. They're at a plus 4.3 point differential. They have won 2 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. And they actually, excuse me, got a little bit of stuff in my throat there. They've actually moved ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference just last night with that Cavs loss and the Sixers win. So the Philadelphia 76ers are actually 4th in the Eastern Conference of late. Just happened last night. But nonetheless, 25-15, 7-3 in their last 10. Embiid's back now. They're at full strength. We'll see if they make any moves closer to the deadline, right? We're in that last month before the deadline arises, so things will start to heat up. We'll see what the Sixers plan to do there to improve the roster, if they do anything, right? Love what the Sixers are doing, though. They're going to keep rising. The Cleveland Cavaliers are next at number 6. I mentioned they just fell below the Sixers, so maybe next week, if the Sixers can keep it up, stay ahead of the Cavaliers, we will move them ahead of the Cleveland Cavs. But nonetheless, the Cavs are 26-16. They're plus 4.7 point differential. They've obviously lost one in a row, counting last night. They're 5-5 in their last 10. So not playing their best ball of late. Obviously, D. Mitch is playing out of his mind. But the rest of that team needs to pick it up, get back to what they were doing. But maybe they're coming back down to earth. That may be part of what's happening. We saw the hot start during the first part of the season. Maybe, just maybe, the Cleveland Cavaliers are coming back down to earth, and maybe just not a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, as I suspected coming into the season. Nonetheless, they've been really good. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Cavs. Coming in at number 5, we have another team that's been struggling of late, but even more than the Cavs, obviously. Or not obviously, but honestly. We have the Milwaukee Bucks at 26-14. They're plus 1.3 point differential. They've won 1 in a row. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Giannis is playing like a maniac, and they're still struggling. It just has to do with Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, in and out of the lineup. Pat Connaughton, in and out of the lineup. So many guys in and out of this Milwaukee Bucks lineup. They're staying afloat, but they need at least Jrue Holiday to be by Giannis's side there consistently in order for them to really gain some ground and get out of that third spot in the Eastern Conference. 4-6 in their last 10. I just hate where that trajectory is trending to, which is why I have them down at number 5 below these 2 Western Conference teams. Coming in at number 4, I have the Memphis Grizzlies at 27-13. They are at a plus 5 point differential. They have won 7 in a row, which is the longest streak on this list. They are 8-2 in their last 10, so they've been hot of late as well. And then you look at number 3. I'm going to kind of pair these 2 teams together because you can probably change them around however you prefer. We're looking at the Denver Nuggets at number 3 at 27-13, plus 3.1 point differential. They've won 3 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. You can argue that the Memphis Grizzlies are better than the Denver Nuggets if you have them higher. They obviously have the same record. I'm going with the Denver Nuggets personally. I like what they've been doing this season. I love Aaron Gordon on that squad. He is filling in the perfect void of what they need now that they have Michael Porter Jr. back, Jamal Murray, and then obviously Jokic. The additions of KCP, Bruce Brown, I love those additions, obviously. And just got to love what the Denver Nuggets are doing. I called this before the season. I thought this team would be really good with getting those guys back. And nonetheless, they are proving me right so far. Memphis Grizzlies, we know what they are. They have to be in your top, 5 of contenders to win the championship. The way they play, looks like they're hitting their stride. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been back for a couple weeks now, and he's finally building some chemistry with this team. When he's in there, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Obviously, one of the more exciting teams in the NBA with Ja Morant and company. But nonetheless, I love what Memphis and Denver are doing. You can interchange those however you want, in my opinion. I just have the Denver Nuggets higher just based on what I've seen so far this season and consistency. But the Memphis Grizzlies are obviously making a push, winning 7 in a row so far. Coming in at number 2, a team that we already talked about a little bit, the Brooklyn Nets. I won't spend too much time on them. They're 27-13, plus 4 point differential. They've won 2 in a row. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Just lost KD. Let's see if they can stay afloat, if they can stay up that high without the one of the largest MVP candidates in the league this year. Nonetheless, number 1 team that's been there, I believe, 13 out of 14 weeks this season so far for the NBA. Boston, 29-12, best record in the NBA. They're plus 5.9 point differential. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They went through like a little mini struggle, a little mini, slump with Robert Williams coming back. They're figuring that out again, right? Guys are getting back in their groove. Jason Tatum's starting to play at that MVP level again. Actually had his second career triple-double last week against the Mavs. So love what the Boston Celtics are doing. Seems like Jason Tatum's just figuring himself out more and more. Should say Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are figuring themselves out more and more. And I love what Boston is doing. I hate the Boston Celtics. I love the type of basketball that they play nonetheless. So nonetheless, those are your updated top 10 power rankings from Scotty Talks NBA this week. Number 10, Indiana Pacers. Number 9, the Dallas Mavericks. Number 8, the New Orleans Pelicans. Number 7, our Philadelphia 76ers. Number 6, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 4, the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 3, the Denver Nuggets. Number 2, the Brooklyn Nets. And number 1, the Boston Celtics. So not much, honestly, has changed there. As I mentioned, just the Indiana Pacers coming in for the LA Clippers this week. Aside from that, not much movement in the top 9. Guys, it's that time. We're flying through here. I know I said a half an hour. We're already at 40 minutes. I just have too much fun with you guys. But nonetheless, we got Wednesday night picks. Let's get the schedule pulled up here for you. Well, we'll take the banner down so you can see the last game of the night. So we got the Timberwolves at the Pistons, Bulls at the Wizards, Bucks at the Hawks, Pelicans at the Celtics, Pacers at the Knicks, Spurs at the Grizzlies, Suns at the Nuggets, Rockets at the Kings. Going to make picks for all of these games for you guys tonight. I'm actually going to do a round robin tonight with my picks. See how it works out for me. Maybe you guys can try it too. If we win, we cash out, we see green. If we lose, you guys can hate me and stop watching my show. But nonetheless, I'm going to round robin these tonight. So if you want to follow along. First game of the night, we had the Minnesota Timberwolves traveling to Detroit to take on the Pistons. We got the Pistons on the tail end of a back-to-back. They're missing a couple of their starters. Obviously, Cade Cunningham out for season. I'm going to go with the Timberwolves simply in this one. We'll see if Ant Edwards suits up in this one. He is day-to-day right now. But nonetheless, even without Ant Edwards, I still see the Minnesota Timberwolves winning this one. Next, we have the Washington Wizards hosting the Chicago Bulls. Wizards 1.5-point favorite in this one. As much as I want to pick the Chicago Bulls to win this, they seem to only beat really good teams. So the Wizards are not a really good team. They're 17-24. I'm going to go with the Wizards at home in this one. No Bradley Beal. The other side of things, the Wizards seem to play better without Bradley Beal this season. Very short sample size, but nonetheless, they play better without Bradley Beal. I'm going to go with the Wizards tonight to cover that 1.5-point spread. The next one, we have the Milwaukee Bucks at the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, Milwaukee is a 4.5-point favorite in this one. This is the show on ESPN tonight. I'm going to go with the Bucks in this one. This one is kind of tough because you just don't know who's going to play for the Bucks. Looks like Trae Young should be back for the Hawks, make it a little bit more of a contest. I believe Clint Capella is going to be out, which could really hurt the Hawks tonight against a big Bucks team, right? You talk about Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Giannis. I'm going to go with the Bucks in this one. They need to build some consistency, right? They're just not looking great right now, and I think that has to change. I think Giannis puts his head down tonight, goes for 40, and Bucks take care of business on the road. Get a win streak going here for the Milwaukee Bucks. Next, we have the Pelicans at the Celtics. I'm going to go with the Celtics at home in this one. Obviously, they're 9-point favorites. It's because Zion's out, Brandon Ingram's out. Maybe the Boston Celtics would be favorites in this one. Would they be 9-point favorites? I think not if those guys are in. And if those guys are in, I would honestly pick the Pelicans. But they're not, and that leaves me with the Celtics, who are basically fully healthy. I'm going to ride with them at home tonight in Boston. Next, we have an interesting one. This is actually one of my best bets of the night. We have the Pacers at the Knicks. So you look at the New York Knicks in this one, they are a 5-point favorite, I assume, because they are at home. But you look at what the trajectory, the trends with these two teams. You have the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, who are side by side in the Eastern Conference right now at 6 and 7. Pacers are ahead. Pacers, as of late, 1-2 straight. They're 8-2 in their last 10. You look at the New York Knicks, they've actually lost one. They lost their previous matchup. And they're actually 4 and 6 in their last 10. So they haven't been playing very good ball of late. Look at their last loss. Well, it's to the Bucks by 4. That's not a bad loss. Able to beat the Raptors on the road, beat the Spurs, beat the Suns before that. So 3 wins in a row before that last loss against minimal competition. I like the Pacers in this one tonight. I like this as kind of a prove-it game for the Pacers. Solidify themselves as a 6 seed. Separate yourself from that 7, that play-in seed, right? And they can do it in the Garden tonight. I think that would be a pretty impressive win for the Pacers ultimately. I'm going with the Pacers in this one. I just like what they have going on there. I like the young talent they have there a little bit more. I know Julius Randle is playing out of his mind right now. Jalen Brunson is playing out of his mind right now. But I think the Pacers can slow that down tonight. I think Tyrese Halliburton has a night in the Garden. I'm going with the Pacers with the upset tonight, and I actually have the Pacers. You can go money line as my best bet tonight, but we'll go over that in the best bet segment here right after this. Next, we have the Spurs at the Grizzlies. Easy one for me. Memphis, 13.5-point favorite in this one. I'm going with Memphis. Suns at the Nuggets. Another easy one. I'm going with the Nuggets in this one at home. 13-point favorites. Suns don't have D-Book, don't have Chris Paul, don't have Cameron Payne. I believe DeAndre Ayton could even be out for this one. So they're beat up all over the place. Easy for me to go with the number 1 seed in the West right now in the Denver Nuggets. And then finally, the last game of the night, we have the Rockets at the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento, 9.5-point favorite in this one. I like what Sacramento Kings are doing this season. I know people have called me out in my power rankings on TikTok because I don't have them in my top 10, even though they are in the top 7 in the Western Conference, I believe, right now. I just don't like them over some of the other Western Conference teams. But as far as a bottom-tier Western Conference team, yeah, I'll take the Kings all day. I love what Domantas Sabonis is doing out there with De'Aaron Fox. You have Kevin Huerter, who's kind of found a nice role there. Malik Monk, who's found a nice role with the Sacramento Kings. I'm going to ride with the Kings tonight at home against the Houston Rockets team that is struggling this season, obviously. They have a lot of young talent, but I don't know if it's enough to take down the Kings tonight. They don't really have a good matchup for Sabonis, in my opinion. So you go through this slate, you look at my winners for the night. I'll go over them again for you. Timberwolves at the Pistons. I'm going T-Wolves. Bulls at Wizards. I'm going Wizards at home. Bucks at Hawks. I'm going Bucks on the road. Pelicans at Celtics. I'm going Celtics at home. Pacers and Knicks. I'm going Pacers on the road. Spurs at Grizzlies. Easily Grizzlies at home. Suns at Nuggets. Easily Nuggets at home. And then Rockets at Kings. I'm going Kings at home. Next, we got the best bet segment of the night. It's my favorite part of the show. Hopefully it's yours. It's where we get to decide if we go green or red tonight. I'm hoping to go green. I hope you are too. Best bets of the night. As you can see here, I have 5 props for you. Do odd number of props. That way I either win or I lose. I either go green or I go red. We're not falling even tonight. We're going up or down. It doesn't matter. Zach LaVine over 3.5 threes at plus 128 on FanDuel. Actually love this play. My man has been on a heater. And it started back in Philly on Friday night when he hit those 11 plus threes against the Sixers. He has hit that mark in the last 3 games. Like I said, LaVine is on a heater. I'll take the plus money until he doesn't hit it. If he doesn't hit it tonight, I won't bet it again, of course. LaVine over 3.5 threes until this trek ends. I'm riding LaVine, and we start tonight. So over 3.5 threes in his last 3 games at plus 128. Next, we have Tyrese Halliburton over 3.5 rebounds. Don't know why FanDuel continues to give this number. I get it. It doesn't have as much juice as the other lays tonight, but it's such like a lock for me at this point. This guy is a lengthy point guard that can put up a triple-double a night. He averages over 4 boards a night. So I don't understand why they put the line there. I don't care. I'm going to smash it. Over 3.5 rebounds at minus 122. He has hit that mark in his last 5 games, and he hits it easily. It's not hard for him to grab 4 rebounds as I believe he's 6'5" point guard. And he gets involved in everything. He's a guy that likes to do it all. Next, we have Drew Holiday over 2.5 threes at plus 136. Absolutely love this one. Drew Holiday has hit that mark in the 3 of his last 4 games for the Milwaukee Bucks. So trends point to Drew putting up a lot of them. The volume's there. Obviously, a lot of guys in and out. Chris Middleton's been out of the lineup. So he's going to get more shots. He needs to hit him. He needs to help out Giannis in this Milwaukee Bucks roster. I think he hits this mark. He's hit it 3 of his last 4 games, plus 136 for 2.5 threes for Drew Holiday. Next leg, we have the Pacers money line at plus 160. I told you that was going to be a best bet. Already kind of went over my thoughts on that. Pacers, I know it's in New York. It's at the Madison Square Garden. But of late, the Pacers have simply been playing better than the New York Knicks. I expect the Pacers to make a statement here, separate themselves as a 6 seed from that 7 seed New York Knicks team. Finally, the last play of the night is going to be CJ McCollum over 5.5 assists. Give me 1 second. I have the numbers for that. So there's actually 2 CJ McCollum plays I like tonight. I went with the assist one. I think that's the safer play. Odds-wise, it is the safer play. CJ McCollum over 5.5 assists at plus 110. He has hit the assist mark in 3 of his last 4 games. So similar to Drew Holiday over the 2.5 threes, CJ McCollum has hit the 5.5 over 5.5 assists. So 6 assists in 3 of his last 4 games. The other prop for CJ that I like is the over on his threes at 3.5 threes, plus 140 on FanDuel. He has hit that over on the 3-point mark the last 4 games, and he's quite honestly, he's done it easily. You talk about Zach LaVine, you talk about CJ McCollum, 2 guys that are on a heater, 2 guys the last 2 weeks that I have had the privilege to ultimately see the Sixers play and see it firsthand. The guy is just shooting the laces off the ball right now. I'm getting the actual numbers pulled up to you just to give you a little bit more context here. So last 2 games, I shouldn't say easily, 4 for 8 from the field in both of those games from the 3-point line. So he's hitting the mark right on the dot. 2 games before that, he was 5 for 11 and then 5 for 8. So he was getting over the dot, over the goal there. You can even go back to last month. If you go back to last month, he's hit the mark in 4 out of his last 5 games, or 5 out of his last 6 games. So he's actually hit that over on the 3.5 3-pointers in 5 of the last 6 games. God, getting my numbers mixed up there, but nonetheless, you can lay the assists, you can lay the threes, you can lay both. They're going against the Boston Celtics tonight. The reason I went assists over threes, who knows? Maybe Marcus Smart's guarding him tonight. Marcus Smart's a good defender. Malcolm Brogdon, another good, decent guard defender. So I don't know if I would smash the 3.5 threes, but I might lay it. Nonetheless, it isn't a best bet for me tonight. I picked the McCollum over on assists. Just because I feel like if they put all the attention on McCollum as the Boston Celtics, a good defensive team would, he's going to be able to find guys open tonight and easily get to that 6 assist mark. Just might not get him a W. But nonetheless, these are the 5 props of the night. Scotty Talks best bets of the night. I will post this on Twitter and on TikTok. Guys, tail them at your own leisure. Obviously, it's your financial situation. It's not mine. So definitely tail them at your own leisure. Don't go and put, your last mortgage payment on it, the money that you're going to pay your mortgage with. I wouldn't go that far. Don't want to cost you guys your houses. So don't put that pressure on me. But these are the 5 best bets of the night. Zach LaVine over 3.5 threes. Tyrese Halliburton over 3.5 rebounds. Drew Holiday over 2.5 threes. Pacers money line. And McCollum over 5.5 assists. Guys, as you know, that is going to be it for this episode of Scotty Talks NBA. I hope I kept you guys entertained. I went about 23 minutes over the time that I expected to be on here, but that's because I love talking about the NBA. I love it. I'm a hoop head at heart, and this is what I love to talk about. That is why you should watch my show, because I'm going to bring you whatever you want every single week, which is why. Let me know in the comments, what should we discuss next week? What's the next team you want me to do a deep dive on? Is there a player you want me to do a deep dive on? Is there a player that I should give credit to? Is there a team that I'm not giving enough credit to? Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling. That's what it's all about. I want to engage with you guys. I want to have these conversations. I want to build this community. But guys, with that being said, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have finally eclipsed the 700 subscriber mark on YouTube. We are now on the race to 800. Ultimately, 1,000 is that next pivotal mark for us, right, to get monetized. Just keep helping us grow any and every way you can, and stay involved, right? We love hearing from you guys. That's the biggest thing here. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, turn the notifications on, follow on all social media platforms, as well as myself. Don't let me not forget to plug myself. You can find me on all social media platforms at Scotty Drown. That is going to be it for tonight, guys. Let's go cash some tickets. Hope you guys end up green by the end of the night. Peace, everyone.